Oscar Wilde, author of The Picture of Dorian Gray, once said, "I don't want to be at the mercy of my emotions. I want to use them, to enjoy them, and to dominate them." Welcome, everybody, to the podcast, Let's Be Real. This is episode 18. As always, I like to start off with a little bit of gratitude time because being grateful for many things in life leads to many grateful and joyous and happy days. And I also want to invoke the possible thought of you thinking daily of something to be grateful for. So today I am grateful for the friends and family who have been there for me when I have needed them through the dark times. So today's topic, feelings and emotions. So hopefully today we hit right in the feels. So let's be real. Let's get to it. And so, like always, with my podcast, I like to give a little bit of educational side to it with some definitions of words, key words that we're going to be going over today. And so the first word is feeling, an emotional state or reaction. And that's a noun. Another noun, emotion, a natural instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationships with others. Next word is suppress. It's a verb. Prevent the development, action, or expression of a feeling, impulse, idea, etc. And last but not least, weakness. It's a noun. The state of condition of lacking strength. So like always, these words are going to come into play. They're key words to listen throughout this podcast to have and understand the meaning of when we get to them. So number one, of the questions, I have two questions of these topics of feelings, emotions. Why do we have feelings? Why do we have emotions? So getting into the biological side of things and the brain and all these other fun things that are in our body, feelings are an emotional state or reaction to something or someone. Emotions help us survive and are wired into our brain for many reasons. We have 6 main emotions. The emotions we identify with are happiness, sadness, disgust, fear, surprise, and anger. A good representation of these, or most of these, is the movie Inside Out. If you haven't seen Inside Out, I would highly recommend going and watching it. It was actually a really good movie to begin with, but it touches on these emotions, and it's really good how it portrays them. And it's okay and good to feel emotions, but many of us have been taught to ignore or suppress them. Mainly men, but sometimes women too. This is something that has really been an issue for me lately, and this is why I'm talking about it. It's kind of like an outlet to try to really get me to maybe work on it better, and I have, but this isn't really about me, it's about you guys. But I'm going to throw this in there just to really show you guys that you're not the only one that may struggle with this, especially if you're a guy who's gone through this. But growing up, it was toughen up buttercup, boys don't cry, things like that. We don't show emotions, we're men, we don't have feelings. So it's one of those things where as you get older, you start to question that mantra, that motto that was given to you growing up. And having a daughter has really opened me up to be more emotional and have that understanding, because she is a girl, and I don't want to sit there and teach her the same ways that I grew up that were wrong, because I don't want to sit there and tell her no. And I do catch myself sometimes like, hey, why are you crying? Don't cry. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel. It's okay to have those emotions. So why have men been taught that showing emotions and feelings make you weak? It's due to, now this is a generational thing, I believe strongly. And I think there's a lot of articles out there that kind of will back me up on this, that the generation of the millennials, their parents had to deal with the parents of the boomers and all that. So they were the ones that went to world wars. They were the ones that worked farms and factories and stuff in shitty conditions. And so they were men. They were tough. They were rugged. And so that's what they taught their kids. And as they grew up and had kids, which was my generation, the millennials, they looked at that and went, hey, I don't really feel like that's 100% correct, but they still invoked it on us in a way subconsciously without trying sometimes. And so that was their way of passing it along. And so it's one of those things that it's been softening as we go through generations, but it's still there. And I think it's still going to take probably another couple generations to really be softened up. And so thus in lies one of the things that I hear often is the boomers talking about how all the millennials are making everything go to shit and they're doing all these problems because they have feelings, and it's our world's going to go soft and we're going to have all these problems. And it's like, no, we're not. It's like the exact opposite. Like, we're actually going to start caring for each other. We're going to start providing and helping one another like we should, because we realize that we all have feelings and emotions. We all have these things that connect us. We are a hive mind. We are a hive mind intellect that as we thrive and work together and learn the tendencies of our fellow man, we actually produce better and do better in the world than we do when it's just this mentality of, I'm in it for myself and that's it, screw everybody else. Because your feelings are, I'm better than you and I don't have to have feelings because of that, and all this other BS that the older generations, they went through. Now, it wasn't 100% their fault. They were a product of their environment. They were a product of who they were and what they were raised in. And so, if you think back to times of the nobles, back in the 1800s, 1700s, you were a boss if you walked around with a claymore and you were able to fight 3 guys at one time. You were a man. And that back then they were like, I don't have feelings. I die a warrior. So, it's like it took how many years to get to this point of you don't have to be a badass when your arm gets cut off. You can cry and realize that it hurts and, have feelings and emotions. I know that was way over the top, but just trying to get my point across here. So, like I said, this is something I was always struggling with. And even as I got older, being bullied in school, one of the things that my dad taught me to do was don't show emotion. Don't show them that it affects you. And that was one of the biggest reasons why it's so hard for me today to let my feelings out sometimes, because I don't want to be that person who's crying and, looking weak. But the thing is you're not weak if you show emotion. Showing emotions and feelings and empathy is far from weak. It's a lot of strength in there. And people take that as a weakness, and it's not. So the more you understand that having that empathy and compassion and sympathy towards your fellow man, towards your fellow person, it makes you that much better, that much stronger. And I'm not saying you're better than others if you show all your feelings all the time. Some people are just an emotional wreck, and I don't mean to say that like as a bad thing or to be mean, but there's a fine balance. There is a balance of putting those together and working on it. So, like I always do at the end, I have questions. This is the Q&A reflection time. This is where I like to turn you guys into active listeners, into active learners, and write down some questions and think about them and really digress and take in what we talked about. First question is, are you someone who's been taught to suppress or ignore your emotions? I was. Second, do you feel it easy or hard to share your emotions? Some people it comes out naturally. Some people you have to pry it out of them like it's a safe. Who can you lean on to help you when your emotions become too much to handle? Who is that shoulder to cry on, to lean on, to comfort you? That's what I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys got something out of it. If you know somebody who this could really help, that tough guy or tough woman in your life that may need to hear that it's okay to feel, it's okay to show emotions, send them this podcast. Let them listen to it. Or the YouTube video if you're listening on Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, whatever. But I just hope that you guys get this and understand it to the fullest extent that I was trying to portray to you guys. But that's what I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and God bless.